We welcome back our good friend, Jovan Alford, who did an outstanding job. We were supposed to get him last week, but I was traveling. But he does great stuff on Twitter, at Jovan10, and, of course, staff writer for DK Live, kind enough to join us on a Wednesday on AM 1490. Jovan, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good, Rich. Glad to be back on with you.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm just wondering, did you take a couple moments? Did you think about life? Did you look at your career as perhaps watering flowers and blooming and growing?
Honestly, I could not believe when that was said. Like, I saw people on my timeline putting the video on there. I was like, yo, you can't put that on there.
No, don't even talk anymore. Like, I'm going to have fun with it in a little bit, but, I mean, this guy is so – I said yesterday, he reminds me of the guy that – and this is no disrespect to butchers out there. Stick this guy behind a counter saying, hey, number 16 sliced ham? He just reminds me of – I mean, he's just – I'm sorry. I can't take this guy anymore. I'm not even an Eagles fan, and I said it from the jump street, from the get-go. He's so overmatched. This was a puppet hire for the Eagles so they can pull the strings a little bit. And I'm telling you right now, they lose to the Detroit Lions, people are going to want this guy out. And if Hurts struggles, I believe they'll put in a mustache. I think it's only a matter of time before we see Minshew. So right now, what's your thoughts just going forward on Nick Sirianni? Do you think they give him a season, a year at least?
I think that they'll let him finish out the year, but like you said, if they somehow lose to the winless Detroit Lions, who, you can say probably play better football than the Philadelphia Eagles at this point, despite having no wins. If they somehow lose that game, I think the pressure cooker is turned up to a whole entire another level. Because this season has just been bad. Sirianni, you think he's made, him and his staff, you think they've made adjustments. They haven't made those adjustments. They had a great first drive, and then they went back to normal. It's just the constants of, when you're a young coach, you're supposed to grow, right? You're supposed to show improvement each and every single week, and we're not seeing that at all. If anything, we're seeing the same old. In this fan base, you can tell, we can all tell, it's getting restless, and they're not happy with the production from everybody across the board.
I look at when you're a young coach with a young team, all I'm really concerned about, especially, say, offensively, is a balanced attack, and then defensively, can you get teams off the field on third down, not give up the big play? The wins and losses, it's smoke and mirrors, it's semantics at times. If you're playing competitive, like you mentioned, Detroit, that's playing competitive. I don't even see that type of balance, and I know what people are saying, oh, come on, Q, enough already with the ground attack and the issues and this and that. But, again, that's how you can kind of honestly and objectively judge a head coach. See, Jimmy Johnson was so great. Why? Yeah, he had Hall of Fame players, but Jimmy Johnson coaches, right? This is not a Buddy Ryan just saying to Mike Ditka, hey, man, you deal with the offense, I'll deal with the defense. Like, Sirianni, you have to get the most out of your coaches, too, and then I'm sure you'll get the most out of your players. And, look, we heard Fletcher Cox's comments talking about I don't get paid to play the screen game. I get paid to get to the quarterback. My man, you got one sack this year, so enough out of you. So there's that disconnect there with the defensive coordinator. And I'm just wondering, I believe you're going to start to see players make business decisions. And when that starts to happen, that falls at the brunt, right on the toes of the head coach. And that tells me, if that's the case, you have to cut ties with them after one season. But then what happens is you start to become those franchises that are hiring and firing and hiring and firing. And it's never a good thing.
No, it's never a good thing when you start becoming a constant on the coaching carousel, right? And like you said, it's starting like with the Fletcher Cox comments. It's not good. It's not a ringing endorsement on either side, honestly. And like you said, that can start moving the locker room at this point. That whole talk early in the season, now the dog mentality and this, that, and the third, that's all worn off now. All that little stuff is worn off. Now we're in the nitty-gritty of the season, and we're not producing. So like you said, guys might start making business decisions in that, I might be hurt, but I'm going to sit out this week, right? Like, I got a little nagging hip injury. I went through practice, but, I'm not really going to play on game day. And then that can start becoming, contagious for a team that's a relatively young team, right? at a lot of positions, and it's just a bad case. It's just a bad situation all around. This team honestly was better staying with a veteran head coach or someone that had called plays for a few years, not someone who was pretty much, fresh at, didn't even really call plays, right, in Indianapolis. And now you're putting them in the front of a team to lead people and also game plan and scheme. It was just a bad move all around.
And again, look, I know you can't unring the bell, and that dog's not going to hunt anymore, but you just wonder if Doug was still at the helm, if you weather the storm a little bit, because a lot of times you want veteran head coaches that can talk to these guys like they're men. I mean, if I'm a player and I'm listening to this guy talk about roses and flowers, I'm thinking to myself, Flacco might have turned around. He still hasn't reported to the Jets, by the way, but he might think to himself, thank God you got me the hell out of here. Now you stuck me in this situation, but which kind of leads me to the quarterback. I mean, I like Jalen Hurts, man. I think he's a stand-up kid. I think he's a well-spoken kid. He's a humble kid, and he's got some talent. But there's too many deficiencies in his game that make me believe he will never excel as a legit starting quarterback in the NFL. You know, the reads rolling to his right and then at times stepping out of bounds or throwing across the body or making bad decisions, which okay, fine. You've only had a handful of games. You've got athleticism. You've got toughness. That's wonderful. Doesn't always win you games on Sundays. So, with all that being said, can you see them benching him just to kind of, I guess you can say, calm him down a little bit, calm the waters? Because no coach wants losses on their resume, and you got a capable, viable backup in Gardner Minshew. Now, I don't know how much better he's going to do, but can you foresee a situation where, say, they struggle offensively first half against the Lions, where they bench Hurts?
I mean, if I would say if they win, if that's a scenario and that he's playing bad and they straight up bench Hurts, I think that causes a massive ripple effect across the room. I think that now we don't know how the team would take that, and would Minshew probably provide something? He might provide something a little bit, maybe a spark. We've seen it before in Jacksonville, where he's come in and provides, sparks. Here and there, it's not the greatest situation for him because he couldn't even beat out C.J. Beathard for the backup spot in Jacksonville. So it could hurt to get benched. Yeah, it's a strong possibility because, like you said, you got to start, producing with wins, right? Like you said, you can get a touchdown run, you can get the passes, you can make the athletic plays. Eventually, you have to start putting wins on the board, and I wish, as Nick Sirianni, as a head coach, would put his young quarterback in better situations to be successful, to maybe where we could see potential growth and development, like running the ball more, or when your quarterback when the offensive line is getting turned around like turnstile, you run the ball more, and we're not seeing that. So now you're having your quarterbacks and no young quarterback. I don't care if you're Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, Tua. No quarterback should be almost 85-90% of your offense.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous, right? It's crazy.
And he's been sacked. Now, he's only been sacked 14 times, but he's been running for his life as well. And you mentioned, right, he's already got 400 yards rushing. He's thrown for 1,700 yards. It just reminds me of, that cartoon with Bugs Bunny where he's catcher, he's pitcher, he's playing first, second, third, fourth. He's playing the outfield. He's all over the place. All right, let's switch gears for a couple moments before I have to cut you loose. How about that win last night for my New York Knicks and just watching Embiid huffing and puffing going up and down the floor? I'm just bragging.
It was a good one. That was a good win. I have to tell you, it was a great win for the Knicks.
Yeah, they lost 15 in a row, I think it was, or whatever with the 76ers. They never beat the 76ers. But here's the thing, right? It's an aberration the way the Knicks are hitting the three ball. That's just crazy. They're going to cool off, but I'll say this. I watched a game last night, and I still see the sloppiness of the 76ers. They obviously need another shooter, and I know our Sixers insider, Kai Carlin, actually asked the other day to Doc Rivers, with not having Ben Simmons out there, and Doc just boom, dismissed it. Do you think this will resolve itself other than Ben Simmons getting traded?
I think when you look at just, like you said, that game as a whole, and even, just with how this team plays up, like you said, it's very clear that they missed Ben Simmons, right? Having someone on that floor to kind of, like, guide and kind of, like, have some type of direction on the floor. Because, like you said, they were sloppy. That whole second quarter was just bad. Even the last half of the first quarter was bad. So not having him Hurts, and then you add on not having Shake Milton as well, another guard that can handle the ball. It's just a bad situation. I know, like you said, Doc said, that they can't think about Simmons and, can't really worry about this situation. But eventually you have to, right? Yeah. Because these problems are just going to continue to persist. And there's only so many times you're going to be able to run, Korkmaz and backup point guard, right? Like,
right.
The experiment's going to work against teams that are not good defensively. They're not going to work against teams like the Knicks, who are a very strong defensive team, especially on the perimeter.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, look, I know we're tight on time. We're going to be getting you on every week. I appreciate it. And like I said, when we get off, if you just want to have a namaste moment, you want to just take stock in your life and career, you want to look in the mirror and say, you want to say, you know what? I'm growing, man. I'm growing like a rose. I got to get watered and just, oh, my goodness.
Fertilizer, photosynthesis.
Well, let me tell you something. He keeps losing. He's not only shoveling it, but he's stepping in it. That's all I have to say. Listen.
There you go.
Listen, mark it down. When we talk next week, you're going to say, Q, you said it. They're losing to the Lions. Oh, it's happening.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Honestly, I have people ask me, like, should they bet on this game? And I said, no, don't do it, because there's a strong possibility. Even though the Eagles, I think, are, like, favored by, like, 2.5 points, you'll be better off
3.5.
Going with Lions.
Line is right now 3.5. I think DraftKings has it at 3.5.
See? Lions might be the play there. I'm just saying, the Eagles can't stop the run, and the Lions got 2 good running backs.
Listen, the name of the show is Back Your Play. I'm backing it. I'm hammering the Lions, and if I lose, I lose. I won't lose graciously, but I'm telling you right now, I'm on the Lions. They're getting a W.
You know what? I'm with you there. I don't bet on the home team or no games involving the whole team, but that one I can legit see happening right there on Sunday, which will just be not good with nobody involved.
No, it wouldn't. Like I said, people, steer clear of the hook. Hey, it's not the Lions are favored at home. It's the Eagles at 3.5. So I'm going to take it and run with it. So, all right, brother, I always appreciate you. Great stuff as always. We'll talk next week.
Hey, thanks again, bro.
All right, you got it, man. My pleasure. Anytime. There you have it, our guy.